All right, so let's start with the big story that we are tracking on WION at this hour. Where the 10th round of core commander level talks between India and China have concluded, the talks ended after 15-hour discussion on the pullback of troops from the friction points. Now, the military commanders from both sides met for the first time after completing the disengagement process from both north and south banks of the Pangong Lake. The Indian delegation was led by Lieutenant General P.G.K. Menon, who is the commander of the Leh-based 14th Corps. The South Xinjiang Military District Commander Major General Liu Lin headed the PLA team. Indian and the Chinese troops, remember, completed their disengagement from the banks of the Pangong Tso Lake earlier this week after a 9-month-long standoff in eastern Ladakh. The four-step disengagement process included pulling back armor, artillery and other heavy equipment, followed by the infantry. At least about 150 Chinese tanks and nearly 5,000 Chinese People's Liberation Army soldiers have also reportedly gone back. And for more on this, we are joined in by WION Siddhant Sibil. He's joining us live on this broadcast. Good morning to you, Siddhant. What is the latest on the story?
Well, Mohammed, it's never a dull day when it comes to India-China relationship. We know the talks are over after 15 hours of conversation at Moldo. Next is basically there will be a briefing by the Indian side to the higher-ups, to the high command here in Delhi, to the officials here in Delhi. And usually the China study group meets after such meetings. Then thereafter, we do expect a joint statement. The joint statement can come later today or perhaps on Monday it will come, and largely there will be a repetition on the same lines, but the key focus is on disengagement at three locations, which is Hot Springs, Gogra and Depsang Plains. These are the three focus points, but of course the elephant or perhaps the dragon in the room was the disengagement at Pangong Lake, which of course got over last week, and that of course is perhaps one of the best news for India-China relationship. But will the relationship come back to the normalcy is the big story, given the fact that the Chinese aggressive actions have led to a denting of trust when it comes to dealing with the Chinese. We know that India has taken a number of actions, whether it's banning of the Chinese apps or whether it is basically making sure that there is more scrutiny on Chinese investment. That of course will remain the big focus of New Delhi, unless of course China does some major confidence building actions, including we know that as recently the Indian External Affairs Minister listed out the sins of China, which includes blocking India's bid for NST, blocking India's bid for the United Nations Security Council, not supporting India when it comes to listing of Pakistan-based terrorists, and of course violating the protocols and norms at the line of actual control. We know that after Doklam crisis of 2017, there was a semblance of relationship. There was the informal summit mechanism, but that of course clearly hasn't worked. The informal summit mechanism was primarily led by India, and it's seen the incident of 2020 and of course 2021 is seen as a breach of trust by the Chinese. So unlikely that the mechanism will be revived, but we know that India is the chair of the BRICS grouping this year, and of course a physical summit can happen later this year here in India. And if that happens, then under the multilateral commitments of China, the Chinese President Xi Jinping is expected to visit India, and that of course will be the top level political leadership meeting that will take place. That of course can send a signal, a positive signal, but by and large it is caution as the word when it comes to dealing with Beijing.
Absolutely, indeed, Siddhant. Now, for people who've been, following this standoff between India and China that took place in Ladakh, the question that comes to mind is, what has resulted in this breakthrough? How is it that China has been made to see reason and is now willing to pull back?
Well, that of course remains the big question, because it's up to the Chinese to perhaps come out why there was this reason of first being aggressive with India, and now of course after losing men going back, because it serves no purpose other than the fact that it dents trust with India, which of course is not only geographically a large country but a major power in the region and in Asia. Perhaps the Chinese wanted to send a signal to New Delhi amidst the COVID pandemic that they of course are the boss in the region, but clearly clearly the fact that China, which wanted to be a regional superpower, which wanted to tell to the world that it's time for China to rise, the Middle Kingdom is rising, has got a message that there are other powers in the region, and China, of course, has to mend its ways, follow the rules-based order. But one thing has happened because of the Chinese aggressiveness is the fact that groupings like Quad has got new steam. We know that Quad foreign ministers had a conversation just last week. This is the third time that Quad foreign ministers had spoken to each other, and comes just within 1 month of the Biden presidency. That shows that there is a continuation of policy of Trump administration when it comes to dealing with China, the Indo-Pacific vision, which is backed by New Delhi and Washington. So largely there is complete change in geopolitics of the region, the coming together of democracies versus the ways of China. China versus the rest is the message, or perhaps slogans you perhaps will hear very, very soon from various organizations, the multilateral groupings. In fact, India has been invited for the G7 by the British Prime Minister later this year. So clearly, whatever the actions of China may be, whatever the rationale China perhaps will give in the future, and why China has left, the world has completely changed because of China and, of course, COVID crisis.
Absolutely indeed. Thank you very much indeed, Siddhant, for joining us and getting us all those insights there. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.